Stop right there. Before you even think about buying your next car, you need to hear this. Every single day, people waste thousands of dollars on vehicles that turn out to be absolute money pits. Cars that look fine on the outside, but underneath, they're nightmares waiting to happen. And once you sign the papers, you're stuck with endless repair bills, poor reliability, and a car that loses value faster than you can imagine. So in today's video, we're breaking down 20 cars that are basically worthless now, and you should avoid at all costs. If you're planning to buy a used car or even trade in soon, watching this till the end could literally save you thousands of dollars, hours of frustration, and maybe even your sanity. Let's get into it, starting with some sedans that have become disasters on wheels. When it comes to sedans, a lot of people think they're playing it safe, affordable, easy to drive, and usually reliable. But trust me, not all sedans are created equal. In fact, some of the most common names on the road are now considered some of the worst buys you can make today. Let's talk about a few. 1 Chrysler Sebring, 2001-2010. This car was once Chrysler's attempt at a mid-size family sedan, but in reality, it's become a symbol of cheap interiors, weak engines, and constant breakdowns. The Sebring was plagued with electrical problems and transmission failures, and mechanics know these cars as frequent flyers in the shop. Resale value is basically non-existent. If you see one cheap on Craigslist, there's a reason it's cheap. 2 Dodge Avenger, 2008-2014. The Avenger was marketed as a sporty alternative to the boring sedan, but instead, buyers got weak build quality, outdated styling, and engines that struggled to last. These cars were cheap to buy new, but now they're basically worthless. Dodge pulled the plug for a reason: reliability just wasn't there. 3 Chevrolet Cobalt, 2005-2010. Now here's a name that really left a scar. The Cobalt became infamous after GM's massive ignition switch recall, which was linked to crashes and even fatalities. Beyond that, the car was cheaply built, noisy, and offered little comfort. Today, resale value is so bad that dealerships hardly even want them as trade-ins. 4 Mitsubishi Galant, 2004-2012. Mitsubishi once had some success in the US market, but the Galant shows why they fell behind. Bland design, poor fuel economy, and a reputation for weak engines made this car a dud. Owners often faced expensive repair bills that didn't make sense compared to the car's value. 5 Kia Spectra, 2000-2009. Yes, Kia has made a huge comeback in recent years with cars like the Kia K5 and Forte, but the older Spectra was one of the worst sedans on the road. Safety ratings were poor, reliability was questionable, and the car simply didn't hold up over time. If you see one being sold dirt cheap, it's because no one wants it. 6 Pontiac G6, 2005-2010. Remember Pontiac? Exactly. This brand disappeared for a reason. The G6 was supposed to be a stylish mid-size, but it turned out to be underwhelming in every possible way. Transmission issues, electrical problems, and fatting resale value make this car one of the worst used buys on the market today. So what's the lesson here? Just because a car was once popular or affordable doesn't mean it holds its value. Sedans like these may look tempting with their low prices, but in the long run, they'll drain your wallet. And that's just the beginning. We've only covered the sedans. Up next, we're diving into SUVs, and trust me, you'll want to know which ones to avoid before you even step foot on a dealership lot. SUVs are supposed to be the kings of the road in America. They're big, they're powerful, and people love them for family trips, towing, or just the feeling of driving something larger than life. But here's the harsh truth. Not all SUVs are created equal. Some of them turned out to be flat-out disasters. These are SUVs that not only lose their value faster than a smartphone, but also cost their owners thousands in unexpected repairs. Let's take a closer look. 7 Jeep Liberty, 2002-2012. At first glance, the the Jeep Liberty looked like the smaller, more affordable cousin of the Grand Cherokee. But once you actually drove one for a few years, the problems showed up quickly. Poor fuel economy, electrical nightmares, and weak transmissions gave the Liberty a reputation for being unreliable. Add in high repair costs, and it's no wonder they're almost worthless on today's used market. 8. Dodge Journey, 2009-2020. The Journey was supposed to be Dodge's family-friendly SUV, but it quickly became one of the most criticized vehicles in the U.S. The outdated design, lack of modern safety features, and underpowered engine options made it a poor choice even when new. Today, dealerships practically beg people not to trade these in. Resale is terrible, and buyers know better. 9. GMC Envoy, 1998-2009. The Envoy was GM's attempt to capture SUV buyers, but it ended up being one of their least reliable models. Frequent engine issues, failing air suspensions, and poor fuel efficiency doomed it. Many owners complain that it felt like a truck with none of the benefits. These days, you can pick one up for cheap, but you'll end up spending more than it's worth just keeping it on the road. 10. Nissan Pathfinder, 2005-2012. The Pathfinder name once meant rugged reliability, but this generation ruined the reputation. Transmission failures were extremely common, often costing more than the car was worth to fix. Combine that with poor gas mileage, and the Pathfinder became one of the worst SUVs to own long-term. Buyers quickly learned to avoid them, and today they're basically worthless. 11. Ford Explorer, 2002-2006. This might surprise some people, because the Explorer is still a popular name. But in the early 2000s, the Explorer was a disaster. Transmission failures, timing chain issues, and a recall list that seemed never-ending destroyed its value. Even now, mechanics joke about how many of these come into their shops with the same problems over and over again. 12. Chevrolet Trailblazer, 2002-2009. Before the Trailblazer got reimagined as a modern crossover, the original SUV was a ticking time bomb. Weak engines, failing differentials, and constant electrical issues made it a nightmare to maintain. These cars are practically given away at auctions now because no one wants to touch them. 13. Suzuki XL7, 2002-2009. Remember when Suzuki tried to compete in the SUV market? The XL7 was their big play, but it flopped hard. Poor build quality, parts availability issues, and weak resale value made this one of the worst SUVs you could buy. Today, they're nearly forgotten, and for good reason. So what do we learn from this? Just because an SUV looks rugged and tough doesn't mean it's going to stand the test of time. Many of these SUVs were once advertised as reliable family vehicles, but in reality, they've become some of the least desirable cars on the market. But we're not done yet. If you think SUVs are bad, wait until you hear about some of the trucks on this list. And considering how popular trucks are in America, this is where things get really interesting. 14. Ford Explorer Sport Track, 2001-2010. This truck was supposed to combine the practicality of an SUV with the utility of a pickup. Instead, it ended up being the worst of both worlds. Weak payload capacity, poor handling, and a long list of transmission and suspension issues made it one of Ford's least successful experiments. On the used market today, resale is terrible. Buyers know it's not worth the headache. 15. Dodge Dakota, 2000-2011. The Dakota once had a loyal following, but that reputation didn't last. Models from the 2000s were plagued with rust problems, weak transmissions, and electrical nightmares. Even the V8 versions, which sounded strong on paper, had reliability concerns. Dodge quietly killed off the Dakota because it just couldn't compete with more reliable midsize trucks. 16. Chevrolet Avalanche, 2002-2013. The Avalanche looked unique with its convertible bed design, but the reality was disappointing. Poor fuel economy, expensive to repair parts, and a tendency for body panels to deteriorate quickly made it a bad long-term choice. Today, resale value is so low that even clean models struggle to find buyers. 17. GMC Canyon 2004-2012. This smaller truck was supposed to compete with the Toyota Tacoma, but it failed miserably. Weak engines, poor build quality, and constant issues with electronics gave it a bad reputation. Compared to Toyota's bulletproof reliability, the Canyon of this era became almost worthless. Buyers quickly learned that saving money up front would cost them big in repairs later. 18. Lincoln Blackwood 2002. This one is legendary for all the wrong reasons. Lincoln tried to make a luxury pickup truck, and the result was the Blackwood. It was massively overpriced, impractical, and came only in two-wheel drive. Sales were so bad that it was discontinued after just 1 year. Today, the few that exist are practically worthless because no one wants a luxury truck that can't actually do truck things. 19. Nissan Titan 2004-2010. The Titan was Nissan's attempt to break into the full-size truck market, but it fell flat. Transmission failures, differential problems, and poor fuel efficiency gave it a terrible reputation. While newer Titans have improved, the early models are among the worst values on the used truck market. Toyota